to the home of the most feared scholar in India and asked one question that left him without an answer. Nobody had ever silenced Mandana Mishra. This monk was about to. But to understand this debate, you have to understand what India had become. Hinduism was not one river then. It had split into streams that no longer spoke to each other. Some worshipped Shiva alone, others only Vishnu, each certain the other was wrong. And around the worship had grown walls, ritual upon ritual, rule upon rule. The fire ceremonies grew so complex that only a few priests could perform them, and only a few were even allowed to watch. Faith had become a locked room, and most people were left standing outside the door. Into this divided world walked a young monk with a dangerous idea that the truth beneath all of it was one. One reality beneath Shiva, beneath Vishnu, beneath every ritual, and that it belonged to everyone, not just the priests holding the keys. But an idea like that has enemies, and the greatest defender of the old order alive was a man named Mandana Mishra, a man who knew the Vedas, they said, the way a farmer knows the monsoon in his bones before the first drop falls. Some called him a philosopher, others called him dangerous, because Mandana believed one thing with his whole life, that ritual held the universe together. Stop the rituals and the world stops. Shankara went looking for his house, and on the road he asked some maidservants the way. They told him he would know it by a strange sight, for at its gate hung cages of parrots, and even the parrots argued philosophy. Did the Vedas prove themselves, the birds debated, or did they need some higher authority? Did our actions bear fruit on their own, or only by the will of God? Where caged birds argue like scholars, the women said, that is the house of Mandana. One of the disciples whispered, Guru, even the birds are scholars here. Shankara only smiled. He would not be smiling for long. He found Mandana mid-ritual, and the old scholar was furious to see a shaven-headed monk standing in his sacred rites uninvited. Sharp words flew, Mandana's anger rising, Shankara's amusement growing with it. You renunciates abandon your duties, Mandana said, and call the running away wisdom. And some men, Shankara answered, mistake a lifetime of ritual for freedom. The fire cracked. Everyone understood. This would not end politely. A debate was set, and for an umpire the great sages present refused the honor themselves and named one person instead, Mandana's own wife, Ubhaya Bharati, a woman so learned that the tradition says she was goddess Saraswati walking the earth. She placed a flower garland on each man and gave a single rule: the one whose garland withered first had lost. The mind, she said, cannot hide its surrender from the body. A disciple whispered that it seemed unfair. Why? Asked another. Because, he muttered, I'd lose just from listening to them. Then it began. The Vedas command action, said Mandana. No karma, no dharma, no dharma. Society collapses. Action has results, Shankara answered, but every result ends. So the farmer stops farming, the king stops ruling, the priest drops his fire. Did I say action was useless? I said a temporary act cannot buy an eternal freedom. For days they argued, quoting scripture against scripture, and the assembly leaned in closer, and somewhere in those days, something began to shift that Mandana Mishra had never felt in his life, though no one in the room had noticed it yet. Then Shankara asked the question that turned everything. Tell me, can you remove darkness with action? Mandana opened his mouth. Nothing came. You can sweep a room for hours, Shankara said. Wave your hands, chant till dawn, but darkness does not leave because you worked hard. It leaves the instant there is light. Ignorance is the same. No ritual erases it, only knowledge does. For the first time, Mandana Mishra had no reply. The debate went on, but its shape had changed. Slowly, Mandana stopped defending ritual and began defending himself. And when at last Ubhaya Bharati gave her verdict that Sankara's arguments had overcome her husband's, the flower garland she had placed around Mandana's neck was seen to fade. Mandana looked at the young monk for a long moment. I spent my whole life mastering words, he said. You went looking for what lives beyond them. I accept defeat. No cheers, no triumph, only silence. That day, India did not watch a scholar be destroyed. It watched one be transformed.